Right over there. Give us a moment to gather here. Come on out, everybody. No, I'm the one who's trying.
I'm blocking a lot of people.
Oh, okay. All right, everybody here? All right. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a great day for Illinois working families. And it's been a long time in coming. It's been 9 long years since workers got a raise. And even 9 years ago, that raise amounted to 25 cents. For 9 long years, there were many forces that were arrayed against giving a raise to the people who work so hard to provide home care for seniors, child care for toddlers, who wash dishes at the diner, and who farm our fields. Today is a victory for the cause of economic justice. I traveled the state for the last 2 years and promised the workers of Illinois that I would stand up for them and fight for 15. Today, it's my great honor to live up to that commitment and deliver for them. Make no mistake, this did not happen overnight, nor did it happen without the powerful voices of those who fight for workers' rights. It took years of advocacy by so many people across the state and a willingness by business to sit at the bargaining table to hash out a deal so that the people of Illinois wouldn't have to wait any longer. There are a lot of thanks and praise that should be offered. I want to particularly thank organizations like the Chicago Federation of Labor, Illinois AFL-CIO, the SEIU, UFCW, and the Illinois Restaurant Association. And I want to thank the many business owners who provided context and ideas in this process. Businesses large and small, from local restaurants to Amazon, made it clear that hardworking employees should be fairly compensated in our state. And even when we didn't agree on everything, they were willing to be part of the negotiations to make the minimum wage work in all of our communities. Workers across the state and organizations like Fight for 15 and Women Employed rose up and demanded to be heard. None of this could have happened without the bold legislators who led the fight in the House and the Senate. I especially want to recognize Senator Kim Lightford, along with Representative Jay Hoffman, Representative Will Guzzardi, Representative Marcus Evans, all of them in the House. Each of them played a critical role over years. I'm so proud to stand alongside them in state government as we put Springfield back on the side of working families. This is a monumental day for our state, a day that redefines what it means to live and work in Illinois. Today, we're making it clear that if you work hard in this state, you deserve to be able to afford the goods and services that you produce. Today, we are saying that the right to a fair wage does not end at Chicago's border. Workers in East St. Louis, in Peoria, and in Springfield deserve that same fair pay. And for small businesses and nonprofits, especially downstate and in the collar counties, we've worked to ease the transition over the next 6 years with a state tax credit. Today, we boldly declare that Illinois is a state that welcomes working families, setting a high standard for workers' rights, economic opportunity, and economic justice. Our work is not over. Tomorrow, I will present a budget that begins to stabilize our state finances while starting to rebuild our human services, our universities, and P-12 education, and our public safety, along with the funding needed to make this minimum wage a reality. In the months that follow, I will work with the General Assembly to advance my agenda, to bring real and lasting opportunity to all of our working families. We'll pass a capital bill to put people to work restoring the infrastructure of our state. We'll help our small businesses grow, and we'll attract new businesses, large and small, to Illinois. We'll also pass a fair income tax that will lower taxes on the middle class and those striving to get there. We make no little plans, so stay tuned. But today we celebrate. This will improve the lives of families across Illinois, and it will lift people out of poverty. The accomplishment here is nothing more and nothing less than historic. Because of the people in this room and leaders, advocates, and workers across our state, 1.4 million Illinoisans are going to get a raise. 1.4 million Illinoisans are getting new opportunity and new hope. Let's be proud of that. Let's celebrate that. And then let's remember there's more work to be done for working families. Before I sign this bill, I want to give the podium over to several people, special people, who've spent years making this happen. And a true force of nature among them is Majority Leader and Senator Kim Lightford.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, everyone. I've got to tell you, I'm just so full right now. It's been a long, long, long time coming. And so many people deserve the opportunity just to feel hope, to feel like they can go to work and come home and have dignity and pride and respect in what they do. This is our first step in giving them that opportunity. I'm so grateful that I've been able to just stay the course. There are so many people that the governor announced that were very critical and crucial in 2011, 2012, 2013, and all the years that we knew that this was supposed to happen, but not happen for workers. So today is the day that we really actually say we care about working people, and we want to make sure that they have a fair wage for the work that they do. So I want to put a little shout out to all the little boys and girls who parents get up when they're still sleeping to prepare a day for them so that they can have a roof over their head and they can have food to eat. I'm just hoping that they're able to take their little children and catch a movie maybe or do something fun, because now the economic engine will be turning. This will allow an opportunity for so much more economic stability for the state of Illinois, and I'd like to thank Sam Toya specifically, because we had been on this fight for a little bit, and then he came along in 2013, and it was the first time that anyone in business was willing to sit down at the table and say, hey, people do deserve to have fair wages in the restaurant industry. So I don't want to miss making that comment, because many people want to say that this is not negotiated. This is a negotiated piece of legislation that's going to bless over 1.4 million people, and hopefully the spillover is real, and we not only identify the lowest of the low income, but the people that are barely over the threshold, that we also give them a boost on today. Moving people out of poverty, that's what government is designed for. Today, Governor, we actually fulfilled our responsibilities, and I can't thank you enough for being the governor for less than 30 days. 33 days. I've been trying to do this, yes. So trying to get this done for almost 10 years, and the governor gets it done in 30 days, we're very excited to hear the budget on tomorrow. So thank you very much, and good things are happening for those who deserve it. Thank you. I'm sorry. So it takes two chambers to get anything done. And I'm really happy that Will Grizzardi stepped in to support SEIU with their Fight for 15 and carried the bill through the House untouched. Representative Will Grizzardi.
it's been such a privilege to follow in Senator Lightfoot's footsteps on this. And it's been a masterclass in legislating, watching her handle this bill. So incredibly grateful to your leadership on this issue for so many years. My name is Will Guzzardi. I'm state representative from the 39th District. It was just a few years ago that a $15 an hour minimum wage seemed like a pipe dream. But it has gone in that time, in a few short years, from a bold ideal to a national movement, and today it becomes the law of the land here in the state of Illinois. It has been the privilege of my career to carry this bill in the Illinois House of Representatives. And as the governor mentioned, we would not be standing here today but for the leadership of so many of my colleagues in the House, including Leader Hoffman and Chairman Evans and so many other colleagues who stood together on this issue, as well as, of course, Senator Lightfoot and President Cullerton and the leadership in the Senate. And of course, we'd be remiss not to emphasize the importance of the governor's office in getting this done. As Senator Lightfoot said, this team came in here with a vision and a game plan, and it was an ambitious one, and they had a fast timeline for us, and they pushed all of us to make this happen. So they've done tremendous work on this issue. But this victory, and I said this on the floor of the House, this victory really belongs to the workers, to the fast food workers, to the home care workers, to the child care workers who stuck their necks out, who risked their jobs, who went out into the streets and demanded this, who refused to back down, who refused to compromise, who refused to accept anything less than 15, who demanded dignity and respect and decency in the workplace. This, if not for those folks, if not for that movement, none of us would be standing here having this fight. And because of those folks and because of that movement, we are standing here today enacting historic legislation that is not only going to raise wages for 1.4 million Illinoisans, but going to recognize the decency of a hard day's work. That if somebody shows up to work and works hard, they deserve to earn a living, that they can care for their families. It's a basic principle of society, and it's one that we've failed to live up to in recent years. I'm proud to stand with the folks in this room and the folks at this podium in helping make that a reality. And again, I'm tremendously grateful to the people who have been in this movement, who have made Fight for 15 a national vision and now the law of the state of Illinois. Thank you all so much. And it is my sincere privilege to introduce one of the leaders of that fight in the state of Illinois and nationally, Greg Kelly of SEIU Healthcare.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Representative Guzzardi. Good morning, Governor Pritzker, Lieutenant Governor Stratton, distinguished guests, brothers and sisters. I am Greg Kelly, and I have the honor of being president of SEIU Healthcare Illinois, a union of 90,000 healthcare and child care workers who provide vital services to the residents of our state. This is indeed a great day for hundreds of thousands of low-wage workers. I'd first like to thank Majority Leader Senator Kim Lightfoot and Representative Guzzardi for their leadership on this bill. Today, as Governor Pritzker signs the $15 minimum wage bill into law, fast food workers, underpaid home care workers, underpaid child care workers, janitors, hospital workers, and so many others can feel a sense of hope, as Leader Lightfoot mentioned. I want to again congratulate Governor Pritzker and for every legislator who voted yes on this historic bill. You all have answered the call of your constituents. This fight all along has been about low-wage work, and it has been the unity of hundreds of thousands of these low-wage workers that has brought this day into reality. Their work must be valued. A home care worker who puts in 40 hours a week should earn a wage that allows that worker to buy groceries, medication, and clothes for their children. We believe that this bill brings that into reality. Members of our union have marched hand in hand with McDonald's workers since the beginning of this fight for 15. Their energy, determination, and downright passion for dignity, respect, and a living wage has been infectious. I am so proud to introduce Aisha Townsend, a McDonald's worker whose voice has echoed across this state and a worker whose struggle is so similar to so many throughout Illinois. With this legislation, Aisha's life and hundreds of thousands of workers like her will see their lives changed. Help me welcome Aisha to this podium.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And thank you for having the Fight for 15 here. Hi, I am Aisha Townsend. 6 years ago, people doubted us and said the sky would fall. Minimum wage workers increased to $15 an hour is a reality. Because of politicians that we have elected into Springfield, a leader into nationwide Fight for 15, and a union, the fifth state to pass minimum wage in the Midwest, our Fight for 15 and a union has been questionable. Last week, it was out of the goodness of the lawmakers' hearts. It was not out without their hearts. The House members responded to Illinois workers like me who have been going on strike since 2013. We demand $15 and a union. Today, because Governor Pritzker is signing the bill into the law, me and workers have worked hard days. Breathe. Sorry, everyone. Sorry. Millions of workers have worked hard to get paid enough by giant corporations like McDonald's, providing for our families. I am a crew member at McDonald's on the south side of Chicago. Everything I do is for my two boys. My oldest sons need clothes, school supplies, my newborn needs formula and diapers, plus childcare to provide for them. Although I've been working at McDonald's for the last 3 years, I only get paid a minimum wage of $12 an hour. I'm not getting paid enough to meet the requirements for my children. So I picked up additional jobs. I work for the Salvation Army. I work for Instacart, but that's even not enough. I rely on food stamps, Medicaid with the hours I work. I should be able to stand on my 2 feet and provide for my children without food stamps or Medicaid. Before the Fight for 15 union movement, I felt voiceless. All around me was overwhelming message that I didn't matter as a fast food worker, as a single mom, that I didn't even matter as a black woman on the south side of Chicago. But by sticking together on the job, workers like me have convinced politicians, voters, and employers in Illinois and across the county and country that $15 an hour is a bare minimum anyone needs to survive. No matter where we're from, what we look like, we have marched, we have gone on strikes, we've got arrested. Lift up our call for Fight for 15 and a union. In Chicago, we helped start a movement, and now it is spread all over the country. 10 millions of workers like me have won life changes, raising through the Fight for 15 and a union. And we're not stopping now. The fight has provided that we stick together and act like a union. It's the only way to change the type of economy and the force like someone who works 3 jobs. It is impossible to make decisions like bus cards or bus passes or breakfast or even backpacks or diapers. So we're not stopping at $15. We're going to keep the fight until we win a 15 and a union, because Governor Pritzker in Illinois leader has raised the minimum wage. We also counted on them to do everything that they can do to stand with workers and protect their rights to join together in a union, no matter where they work or where they're from. With $15 an hour and a union, Illinois workers like me, we will have a real shot at a good environment and also a better life for our children. So thank you, Governor Pritzker, for signing this bill for me and my family and everyone around the country and county.
Thank you,
Spell your name. Spell your name.
It's IESHIA Townsend, TOWNSEND. And I'm introducing Carlin Gaines. Kerrigan.
Michael Kerrigan. He's used to that.
Good morning. Didn't you do a great job? I'm Michael Kerrigan, President of the Illinois AFL-CIO. And on behalf of our affiliates, and that's all of our affiliates, and on behalf of the coalitions who've worked very hard to see this day come, we thank the leaders for passing SB 1. We thank them for making this a priority legislation. In SB 1, it just doesn't get any higher than that. I want to thank Governor Pritzker. I want to thank President John J. Cullerton. I want to thank Speaker Madigan and thank all the members of both chamber who voted for this bill. In particular, thanks to Leader Lightford and to Representative Will Guzzardi for stepping up. So many people have contributed to make this day happen. And this is an important step in addressing wage inequality in Illinois. A $15 an hour worker will be more empowered to make a difference in their community. They will be consumers. They will be out, they will boost the local economy, and they will pay taxes. I can't emphasize enough the team effort that went into making this SB 1 bill become a public act today. With sincere gratitude on behalf of the Illinois AFL-CIO, our 855,000 members, and all those that contributed to the passing of this bill, thank you very much. We're making history today. Thank you. Now, I'd like to introduce Sam Toya with the Illinois Restaurant Associations. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Again, I'm Sam Toya, President and CEO of the Illinois Restaurant Association. I always believed Governor Pritzker would be a progressive governor. Yes or no? Yes. As well as a pragmatic leader for our state. The legislation signed by the governor today is a reasonable, balanced approach that takes into account many of the concerns of the restaurant industry, which is the largest private sector employee here in the state of Illinois, with over 577,000 people working in the food service restaurant industry. I appreciate that the state is not making these changes overnight, and it's not leaving business without some of the crucial tools they needed to succeed. This was a compromise. I rebut anyone that says this wasn't a compromise. They weren't at the table. You need to be at the table. You're on the menu. So, to the elected officials and to the other business association that said this wasn't a compromise, it was a compromise. This bill would protect employers that utilize the tip credit, as well as gives entry-level employees the boost and pay they deserve. The Illinois Restaurant Association has been grateful for the opportunity to be at the table with our leaders in Springfield to address this issue. Again, it was a compromise. Leader Lightford and I have been working on this for how long? Since 2013, 2011. So again, I want to drive this home. This was a compromise. I look forward to continuing working with the governor and the General Assembly to promote pragmatic public policy that benefits workers, employers, and the overall economy of the state. As I like to call myself and the governor, we're pragmatic progressives. Thank you. Oh, wait. How could I not introduce my good friend, the Lieutenant Governor? We've been working together since day one, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you so much, Sam, for the introduction and for your advocacy and support. To Governor Pritzker, thank you for keeping a promise that you made as you and I traveled across this great state, and with a goal of lifting up working families all throughout Illinois. To Senator Lightford and Representative Guzzardi, and to all of the members of the General Assembly who stepped up to support this effort. Thank you for your leadership and for your perseverance throughout the legislative process to get us to this point. And I also want to acknowledge the business leaders, the advocates, the organizers in the Fight for 15, and the unions who worked with us to make this happen, as well as everyday Illinoisans like Aisha, who boldly shared their stories about how raising the minimum wage would impact their families for generations to come. Today, Illinois will become the first state in the Midwest to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And as a result, there will be more money in the pockets of 1.4 million Illinoisans, which will boost the economies of communities in every corner of our state. The raise that families are getting will create opportunity and allow people to better provide for their loved ones. But not only that, it sends a message that Illinois is a leader, that Illinois will lead equitably, and that Illinois, under the leadership of Governor Pritzker, is invested in creating opportunity for people in every community of our state. From Rockford to Moline to East St. Louis and everywhere in between, we see you and we hear you, and we are going to continue to work for you. Now, it's my honor to ask us to all gather around the table to my left as Governor Pritzker signs this historic bill into law.
First Lady will stand over here too.
Yep.
Sam, now you always get up here with the rich people and stuff. Let the local people get up here. Thank you. Let me get right here by the First Lady. I love you, dear friend. I really do.
My favorite.
Thank you, JB. Appreciate you. Right. Southside appreciate you.
Southside, thank you. This is the most pens that I've ever had to sign.
That made my views go up, JB.
That's when the periods would come in handy.
All right. Whoa. All right. All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Congratulations. Where is Will?
Congratulations.
Well done, everybody. Okay. Yes, these pens will be, I'm going to let you hand them out because you know all the. Governor. Yes, sir.
Bill Daley said about pensions, he says that he's not
Well, as I've said, we shouldn't be taking pensions away from people that have earned them. We should pay the pensions that are owed.
Governor, it's reported that you're going to short the pension system $800 million a year in an attempt to, save money now and to deliver on some of your campaign promises. But justify that to, the people who voted for you. That's not just repeating mistakes of the past, specifically the mistakes of the Blagojevich administration.
Well, actually, you're pulling out one piece of a five-pronged effort to chip away at our pension liability. As you know, there were five pieces of this proposal that's been put forward. One of them is to contribute assets to offset liabilities in the system. Another one is to extend the buyout program so that we're buying out people who want to be, who choose that option, who are retirees, whether it's their COLA they want bought out of or their pensions altogether. Another one is a pension obligation bond that really just replaces debt that already exists in the system, and all of the money, unlike what you described prior governors doing, all of the money from that bond would go back into the system. And the reason for that is we would actually lower the interest rate that's being paid by the system on debt that it owes. It's a very small bond, relatively speaking. And then, as you know, we proposed making sure that after we pass a fair tax in Illinois, that we're putting $200 million per year more into the system than is required under the pension law. And then finally, we're simply taking a pension amortization schedule and extending it by 7 years, which allows us to do two things along with these other four items, to both pay the pensions that are owed, in fact, to improve our pension liability by bringing it down, and at the same time not crowd out investments in human services, in public safety, and in education.
Governor, you say it's a celebration today. How businesses would say it's a cause for concern. It's not just the minimum wage. They're worried about other regulations that are going to be coming down the pike with you in the office and the Democratic supermajority. What's your message to Republicans and the business owners who see this as just the beginning of more regulations and a less friendly business climate?
Well, as you know, I'm a businessman. I was a businessman before I became governor. I understand the concerns of businesses and am very attuned to how it is that we need to create jobs in this state. This is one thing that we've done that I promised to do, to stand up for working families. There are so many other things we need to do, like create jobs in the state, like allow small businesses the opportunity to access capital so they can grow those businesses, like helping us innovate and create new businesses in the state. I understand very acutely the importance of growing the economy. That's why the proposals that I've made and the budget that I'll present tomorrow is as it is.
Is that budget going to
Dave.
How are you going to earn back the political capital from Republicans and those who don't like the bill?
Well, actually, I've been working with Republicans all along, talking about issues that we can have common ground on. In fact, as was pointed out by a couple of the speakers, including Sam Toya, we talked to many of the business interests and Republicans about what they'd like to see in a minimum wage bill. That they ended up not voting for it, but those provisions, some of them were included. In fact, the elongation of the years in which this is being implemented was one of those things. So we continue to work with Republicans, my administration, and I continue to have dialogue about, for example, a downstate revitalization plan, something that will allow us to create jobs in communities that have been left out, left behind, that are all across the state of Illinois. So I'm going to work with them, talk to them. Many of them have been here to visit in the evenings so we can spend some off time together, as well as a number of them have come by my office and I to theirs so we can get to know each other and work on issues together, particularly around economic growth and jobs.
Governor, a question about Aurora. The state of Illinois has been taking some criticism for not doing enough to keep guns out of the hands of felons. Will you be proposing any legislation or backing any legislation to tighten down the state's gun laws?
Yeah. First, let's recognize the immense tragedy that occurred in Aurora last week. There were 6 deaths of civilians. There were injuries by other civilians as well as of police officers who ran into gunfire when they knew there was danger ahead. And we need to honor their service and make sure that we're recognizing what they are going through today and what the families of the victims are going through. We're looking into the challenge, the problem that's apparent in the system of retrieving firearms from people whose FOID cards are voided. We need to make sure that we're addressing that. My entire team is focused on it and has been all weekend and through today. And we're going to make sure to make proposals that will tighten the rules around the revocation of FOID cards. And we're going to work with legislators, some of whom are here today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.